Hello and welcome back to good old 709 Meridian, an audio commentary podcast. We are your hosts, Dee and Andrew,
Hello.
stumbling out of the gate here. Um, we're coming back with our Michael J. Fox season of solo mid hits.
Yeah.
This is the season minus Back to the Future. We already did a big MJ Fox movie that was Teen Wolf. Long time ago.
That's right. I forgot. Yes.
Great episode if you haven't seen it.
Yes.
And now we're back into the fold here with 1987's charming classic, The Secret of My Success.
The original music by Night Ranger.
Yes.
God.
So,
Ah,
there is no, to me, other movie that's more 80s
this is the most
than this.
1987 movie.
Yes.
It's
It's
just
thoroughly got its foot in 1987's ass. This movie. um, you want to do the jump off or?
yeah, so the only thing I was gonna okay, so we'll get to it in the episode, but I guess people don't talk about the Ferris Bueller thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, Yellow.
Yeah.
Song
So,
by Yellow.
okay. It did not make the soundtrack. Sorry, we can get to it. There's going to be plenty of time for us to talk because when you say 80s montage sequences,
Oh, yes.
uh, there's let's get ready to watch Michael J. Fox make some reports, folks, because nothing's more fun than making reports. All right, let's get going here. And go. And starting in 3, 2, 1, play. Um, so I barely I mean, I was and wasn't like when this came out, you were like, oh, it's Alex P. Keaton. Let's go see that movie. And then it's like, well, it's the R-rated Alex P. Keaton, though I feel like
Yeah.
this was a bit softer than some of the other R's. Um,
Well, this is, yeah. This is as dirty as they could have allowed him to be, I guess, at the time.
though he went over on that with this would be the last of the like Light of Day and Casualties of War.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was really him. Yeah.
Not completely to the dark side, which is why I think those movies are more obscure because they didn't really bank on dramatic
No.
Michael J. Fox.
And you like yeah, they're just I mean, I still have like we talked about Light of Day and skipped it and then Casualties of War. I mean,
Yeah, those are just
you would have to
ugh.
fucking pay me to watch Casualties of War again. Okay. So Michael J. Fox is a Kansas farm boy. Now, I thought Herbert Ross was the guy who directed what was the guy who made the Terms of Endearment sequel, whoever
Oh,
that,
Evening Star.
yeah, Evening Star guy. But he's not. Herbert Ross actually has a very long and storied career, including a bunch of like he choreographed a bunch of musicals. He did yeah, David. So other thing about this, we probably won't be talking a lot about the soundtrack. I mean, other than some comments. But in the trivia section, this is considered to be a spiritual successor to St. Elmo's Fire in how they use the music,
Uh,
which it's been a long ass time since I've seen St. Elmo's Fire, but this did not make me sort of.
I don't recall. Yeah, they didn't bank on this one or the soundtrack to this anyway. At least
No,
this
but
had songs that were established other than the theme.
right. It was
So I
not.
think wait, Walking on Sunshine gets a sequence in this, doesn't it?
Walking on Sunshine gets a sequence in this.
Which gets repeated in fucking Look Who's Talking later.
I mean, that's only fair considering we'll get to the Ferris Bueller. So hold on,
Mhm.
everybody. Get to your cameos from 1987's Supermodels. Um, but Herbert Ross directed a bunch of the God, he's the guy who directed Last of Sheila. He directed a bunch of what's his face? Neil Simon. I was going to say Neil Diamond. Neil Simon stuff. He directed Footloose,
Yikes.
Steel Magnolias, and then, but yeah. So he was not the guy who did Evening Star. The guy who did Evening Star is um. Oh my God, the Evening Star doesn't even come up. Evening Star is Robert Harling, who 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 wrote the play for Steel Magnolias and some other things, but not many. Okay, so this is also an interesting 1987 movie because I swear this plays like it's it'll have, in my opinion, having only seen it once before this recording, it has mannequin vibes in some of the
Mm.
physical comedy, but it doesn't, not to the level mannequin does. It just has um Michael J.
Well,
Fox doing them.
the 80s, God bless the 80s, because they really, is it the last time they really attempted or did a willing attempt at screwball comedy?
Yeah, I think well wait, when
That's what makes these work. Because then
what's
later on, it's about a guy and a girl, and they hate each other, and then
that'll be what this is about for four
yeah, that'll be
minutes in the
this.
third act.
But that's what most of these movies became later on,
Oh yeah, I
without
mean, but without the yeah, without
yeah,
the
without the physical shit.
when was that last, like 91 or 92, that John Turturro thing that
Mm.
was like a Marx Brothers homage.
All right, yeah,
I feel like the modern screwball died because people stabbed it to death. Like Blame It on the Bellboy and Once Upon a Crime were
mm.
had screwball elements, but
Voices off. That was
yeah,
another one, I think. Yeah, because then they tried to do it. It was they didn't put it on the shoulders of one actor.
yeah,
Eventually, they became ensemble pieces too.
yeah. And it was people who, like, some of the people were good at it, but then some of the people were bad at it. And it wasn't very like good to start with. So this is also an interesting one in the sort of, so this is the, I think, is Wall Street 1987 or was it
Yeah,
86?
yeah,
So there's this whole late 80s yuppie movie.
yes,
Um so Baby Boom be in there too, and
Mm.
they were all about happening to get rich.
Yeah, go
Um,
getters.
and this one's interest not I don't know if interesting is the right word. This one stands out because most of them, like Working Girl, and I feel like the last one of these and the one that sort of broke the genre was Other People's Money because it was
Mm.
so um I don't know, straightforward about the
Yeah,
characters.
this
But that
kind of
was,
was its own genre.
yeah, but the greed is good genre.
Hmm.
And so it does not like, but this one doesn't even get into the story. So, like, at some point, Michael J. Fox is going to be trying to save um, the working man for this big company he works at, and it completely falls away by the end, and they never actually like. There's going to be a great sequence where he and Helen Slater spend 12 hours talking about it, yet he never says anything, and so every scene starts with her saying, "Tell it to me again." So they did not really invest in the sort of logic to it, but this,
No, the mechanics behind it.
yeah. Whereas something like Working Girl, that's like the whole point. That's like the A plot of the business plot is fully fleshed out. Whereas in this, it turns into a screwball at one point, like straight up. There's a whole like screwball sequence that what's his face ought to be able to do better, Herbert Ross. But like this stuff with the parents and the flashbacks to them, like it's very weird.
Wait a minute. We got the soundtrack creeping in
Oh yeah,
already.
oh yeah. This movie has like a 45-minute first act, and that's because of all the soundtrack stuff.
Okay, so here they are introducing him to this relative that doesn't even know he exists, pretty much.
Also,
Now, hmm,
Michael J. Fox having the combination James Spader Eric Stoltz haircut is very confusing for so much of the movie. There are full scenes where I'm like, is he like doing an Eric Stoltz impression?
no, not him. It's not as bad as the one in For Love or Money. It's a very Metro haircut he has in For Love or Money.
Yeah.
This is still chipper young go getter.
I mean, yeah, we discussed doing For Love or Money. That's 93. That was like him trying to come back before he hit as a supporting actor in a couple years
Mhm.
before he had Spin City. Um, but we decided not to because
No, it's not essential.
no. It feels like For Love or Money has probably been remade 30 times as a Hallmark movie at this point. Like,
Yeah, they just half the time they gender flip it.
wait a second.
Hmm.
For Love or Money's about him getting in with a rich guy and then it being complicated because he's in love with the rich guy's mistress, right?
Yeah.
Albeit PG-13 or PG, I think. But that's what this fucking movie's.
Yep. They figured let's put him back in his element because this did well enough for him, you know.
So I was reading, he actually filmed this and Light of Day,
Whew.
um, the same Family Ties break.
Well, thing with Light of Day was he kind of took a backseat in that. That's more Joan Jett's movie
Okay.
where they're trying to show that she can act, which, you know,
We saw how that went. Okay.
yeah. So he must have, I wonder if he did that first or
Yeah.
because there's definitely a difference in the hair. He's rocking a mullet in Light of Day.
He must have done that first then.
Yeah.
Um, that is Bill Faberback, co-star of Coach in the background there, playing a suit, which is interesting given that he played a numbskull on Coach for 25 years or whatever. The secretary I don't think comes back. I like her. She's got
Yeah.
nice timing. Like, and that's kind of the thing is it's like it is one of those things where they have um they're going to rely a lot on Michael J. Fox's timing,
Mm.
and it's somewhat unfair that they saddle him with like 110
Yeah.
minutes of that. Here we have Richard Jordan, who was a sort of omnipresent actor in the 80s. He died in the early 90s with his companion at the time
Mm.
at his side, Marcia Cross,
Mm.
who he'd been with since the mid 80s. Now, if you want to do some math, he was born in 1937.
Mm.
She was not born anywhere near that amount of time. So
Yeah.
apparently he did the same thing with Blair Brown 10 years before.
She,
Anyway, so Richard Jordan was like, he was like kind of like a heavy, um,
a dynasty villain.
yeah, though I don't think he ever did Dynasty, but he was on,
No,
he
he had to have
replaced,
been on one of those.
I don't think he was. I just looked him up.
No.
No.
Uh-uh.
His big TV thing was he filled in for Edward Woodward on The Equalizer for 8 or 9 episodes while Woodward was recovering from a heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but he like he had a real 70s career. He had a real and then the 80s he was doing other stuff and then yeah, he died in 93 or whatever. He was going to be in The
Mm.
Fugitive. He was going to be Jerome Crabb's character in The Fugitive, which would have been
I
interesting.
could see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But oh wait, hold on. Here we go. The 80s version of a mute beat cute, everyone.
This is
Oh,
very, very MTV.
there's there's a fucking sequence in this where it seriously looks like they're doing like a cologne ad or something. Like,
No, I
look,
think this is it.
no, it's this is
No?
one of them. There's an even worse
Yeah.
one. I mean, there's this. Okay, so Helen Slater was only actually 23 at this point. I assume, like, I think we forget how young she was when they burned her
Yeah.
out. Like, Supergirl was 84, Billie Jean was 85, Ruthless People was 86. This is so weird because, like, she doesn't. They should have just fucking gone with an aha sequence. Like, they should have just done Take on Me through this whole thing. Um, just wait until he actually like meets her. She's like not
Yeah, she's
not
stiff.
yeah. But
Frigid may be the word.
well, she's got a subplot going on that
Yeah, she's got
yeah.
something happening.
But we will soon get to Margaret Whitten, who is the film's secret weapon, an absolute delight, and now I am angry that she did not have a better career. Like,
Mm.
she's so
Yeah, I
good in
preferred
this.
her over Bette Midler, who every time I watch one of her old movies, I get annoyed as fuck by her.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there you want to talk about slapstick and screwball, the Bette Midler
Yeah,
movies of the late
the,
80s,
the
like,
touchstone films of Bette Midler.
mm,
She did slapstick, then she did tear jerkers.
yeah. And then she, no, that she really, I never saw the one with Dennis Farina, so I don't know. What's his face here? The boss is in it a bunch. The
And
mailroom boss.
he played. I keep bringing it up. We got to watch it. Um, he's the heavy in the Last Dragon.
Okay.
Eddie Arcadian.
And then we've got John Pankow here. It might maybe our first John Pankow on the on 709. Though
Yeah.
he very much seems like he would be a background player in like a fucking Halloween 4 or something, though um just bad timing. So yeah, Pankow's around a bunch in this and he'll figure in at the end. The trivia does not mention that there's like a 4 hour cut of this movie, but it seems like if there's not, I wonder how they kept track of what they were doing. Like, because characters just will come and go. Um, Subplots will start and I didn't even remember when I was watching it what the hook was. Like,
Hmm.
because here's Michael J. Fox looking at this office at minute 19, everybody. Keep this in mind and see if it means anything in another half hour. Because he hooks up with Margaret Whitten before he starts his
Yeah,
business
there's a whole
subplot.
thing.
What was I going to look up besides Last Dragon? Something else. Okay. So here we're going to start some of the business talk, which is basically just Michael J. Fox discovering that it's being inefficiently run. It's the 80s, so Pankow's going to go through a
He's talking about
series
it
of,
like a turf war. Now talk to the suits.
yeah. But what's going to be hilarious is that when so
Uh oh,
Richard
here we go.
Jordan's not really that like what's the word I'd be looking for? He never comes off as very hold on, wait, I'm sorry, montage sequence. Sorry everybody. We got to chill out and we got to listen to this fine song.
Yeah, he's paying the price of love. Oh my god.
I will say though, I did like the inexplicable addition and usage of the St. Elmo's Fire song in Across the Spider. No, the first Into the Spider Verse.
Hmm.
They're on the bus, and for no reason, they're just like sitting on the bus, and the fucking St. Elmo's Fire theme starts, and it's like for
Oh
Peter
shit, I
J.
gotta watch
Parker
that
or
again.
whatever. Yeah, good thing I'm waiting on watching the second two together, so I can wait until 2028 or whatever.
Damn.
I think it's 27.
Jesus.
Okay, but um Helen Slater's supposed to be this wonder. I mean, all right, like I don't know if we've really talked about it on the pod before, but like when you watch these movies, you have to take into account that like for the most part, these are people whose entire jobs were being done by them by their support staff. Like their sexually
Right.
harassed secretary was actually doing all this work, and
They right. The head is always he's always sleeping with the secretary. He steps over everybody. There's more
so
qualified people who should be the boss.
yeah. So, but basically, Michael J. Fox just he doesn't even discover anything that's like wrong. Like the business subplot of this one is so thin that it's just even for this type like this there's more of a business subplot in well I don't think I've seen that. What isn't I think there's a Marx Brothers that's about a department store. I'm sure there's more about that, but there's more about the business in Manic the business shit in Mannequin makes more sense than anything in this. Like
Mm,
it's kind of funny how okay, here it is. 24 minutes in, we meet Margaret Whitten. Um let's pay attention to all the times she mentions about her husband to encourage everyone to wonder who that's going to turn out to be. No spoilers.
mm.
Wait, so wait, Light of Day has an incest subplot, and this one has a it's not
I,
incest because we're not.
I can't even recall. This here is she's an in-law, so
It's fine.
yeah.
Also, folks, the amount of movies that have an older aunt um, sexually abusing a nephew is more than you would think. There are multiple examples of it, and it just sort of goes unmentioned. Like, there's that Eye of the Cat movie with Michael Sarrazin and Eleanor Parker, where
Mm,
it's literally all about the younger brother being jealous that the older brother gets to fuck the aunt and he doesn't. And so it's just like, what am I watching? What is going on? It was from 1969. And then they turned it into a TV movie with that plot. And you're just like,
mm.
oh, this is some fucked up shit, y'all. But here we have, yes, very MTV, like it's a Robert Palm. Did,
Well,
how did
this
they
is
not?
Yellow.
Okay.
First time they performed "Oh Yeah" by Yellow, which to those of you out there who know about 80s soundtracks, probably appeared in half the movies from 86 on up to
But this is yeah, this is after Ferris Bueller. Like
yeah.
how
This was a
that's
very popular, like, this was in a lot.
all right.
They even fucking, they sunned Ferris Bueller by playing this shit in, like, parts of the pilot of Parker Lewis.
Are you serious? That's
Yeah, they used
amazing.
a, they used that as their, swipe noise.
Okay. So good God.
But this was popular. I think another movie played it.
We missed it, but basically he complimented her appearance, and so now she's decided.
Yeah, wait a minute, who's this strapping young lad? This, and I would say Pump Up the Volume, were probably the most played songs on soundtracks, aside from the shit that they would play during Vietnam sequences. All alone, the watchtower.
Oh my god.
Ding, 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 ding.
Let's point out we missed the subplot about Michael J. Fox getting his livery license as part of the onboarding at his mailroom job. All right, so where are we? This is not a short sequence. I think this is going to go.
Yeah, this because they're not even. There's
Yeah,
a whole thing in the swimming pool, and
we got to swim. We got to do a Ferris Bueller chase sequence, practically. But the thing about Ferris Bueller, the thing about the John Hughes unconnected universe, like nobody,
Mm.
not to offer legitimacy to Andrew McCarthy's whining, but those movies were looked upon as not like real movies. Like,
No, they were very much wish fulfillment.
well, that, and also just like they, and we talked about this in some episode where Dee was talking about the Brat Pack movie that I still haven't
Mm.
watched. But like, it wasn't like Andrew McCarthy, it wasn't like Spielberg was making a bunch of movies with people that Andrew McCarthy could have played, right? Like, a lot of
No,
that is Andrew McCarthy just didn't want to fucking, like, he was, I guess, waiting for a call instead of trying out for a part or something.
because
But,
Spielberg, his movies, look, in the '80s up to what the early, you either had to be a kid or a grown ass adult.
yep,
There was no, he didn't fuck with teenagers really.
nope,
So
not a bit.
that's where the John Hughes shit came in.
And if you were a teenager, you were either going to do Hughes or you're going to do Hughes knockoff or you're going to do TV. And so, but like Secret of My Success, Herbert Ross is like, he's a New York filmmaker. So this is a different.
Yeah, this is a very New York. It was always East Coast, West Coast.
Mhm.
Very
Is he?
rarely was it, again, Hughes, he put his mark on the Midwest,
Yeah.
sort of.
Okay, so we're going to have some very careful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like, no shade on Michael J. Fox, and this is not like something that doesn't come up for him in most of his films, but it came up for him in like Doc Hollywood too. But like when Michael J. Fox is playing like horny, it is just very uncomfortable. Like
Yeah, it's like
he
watching a
seems,
relative
yeah,
or
he seems uncomfortable. You were uncomfortable, and then it's just like everybody's
just like
uncomfortable.
kind of like catching somebody messing around. It's like,
Mm,
okay.
all right, Alex, lock the fucking door. You and
Yeah.
Courtney Cox or whatever.
Yeah, and this was something else too about they sort of merged Alex P. Keaton with the sort of public image of Michael J. Fox that
Mm-hmm.
everybody liked. Now, if you'd had him play an Alex type character in this movie, it might have been a little funnier.
Hmm. But he never really wanted to do that,
No,
right?
he didn't
Like
want it. Yeah, he did. He wanted Alex. That's Family Ties is where Alex was supposed to be.
his hair looks lighter in this one, though. I think that's why he gives me the Eric Stoltz vibes.
Yeah,
Okay,
it looks more red.
we also missed this. There's a yes, so he just fucked his aunt by marriage. Um, so there was a scene where Margaret Whitten is talking about how he looks twice as good as he did when she married him, and it's fucking Richard Jordan. Okay, like what did he look like when she married?
Right?
Like, it's just like we're set up for this vibe that he's going to be like, you know, I don't know, Hugh Jackman in baby oil or something, and it's fucking Richard Jordan with a fake tan, looking like he's just waiting for a Richard Burton biopic to drop in his lap, which never happened and always should have. Like,
And you're right, Margaret Whitten. Whenever she was in something, she kind of stole it.
but she's barely in Major League, and I mean, I
Well, that's another thing. I just learned there's a whole extra sequence with her
in okay,
in Major League. I saw the deleted scene on YouTube. I think that
okay,
would have probably helped the movie. They gave her more to do.
yeah,
They said there was a whole subplot of hers that they cut out of the movie.
because they didn't want it to be 2 hours. They were like,
Right.
we're gonna cut it around. I don't even know what the
And
first
then
one is. 100 minutes, maybe. Yeah.
she was in or at least the last thing I recall seeing her in was that Step Kids movie. The big girls don't cry, they get
Yeah.
even, aka Step Kids.
Yeah. And she passed in 2016. She directed something that I want to check out or is on the list to check out someday. But I mean, yeah, she's comedy relief in um she's only sort of used as comedy relief in Major League. Like until which is the one where she hooks up with Corbin Burnson. Is that the second one? I don't know.
Probably.
It's been a while since I've seen the second
Because
one. Yes, it must be because she did not show up for the third one.
and Corbin Burnson, he's only a glorified cameo in the first one, right?
No, in the
They gave
second
him
one.
more to do. I thought they gave him more to do in the second one.
I thought the second one. Oh, he
Since
is
Wesley
third
wasn't,
billed.
since they replaced Wesley with
Omar
decades
Epps.
younger
Mm,
Omar Epps.
mm.
Because hey,
That's a
brothers, we all look alike,
that's
right?
a great vibe. Nobody's gonna notice. Yeah. The Major League quote unquote franchise is very it's they should have left well enough alone would be one way of putting it, but also
Yeah,
like
because they're not like the first one.
no, and like
They're basically, thank God they only did what, three?
yeah. And the third one
No,
was years later too. It was
yeah,
unrelated and years later.
because what they seem to be trying to turn it into is like a baseball based version of the police academy almost.
Yeah, but it's just like the second one. despite having the same director as the first one, he didn't write the second one. And it's like it was too much to write to work on the script for Major League. Could have. Okay, so here we are. We are okay. I was being hyperbolic when I said it'd be minute 50 before we started this. It's instead just minute 40. Michael J.
They've done this.
Fox.
They've done this in other movies too. Then
Oh yeah.
the sequence where they're jogging on a track. I've seen another movie where I think that was the Money Pit.
Money Pit was 86. So Money Pit is another Money Pit's speaking of weird creative forces, Money Pit is a Walter Hill production, I believe.
What?
It's David S. Geyer and Walter Hill, I think.
Huh? No. Spielberg produced the Money Pit. I think.
Um,
I think it's an Amblin. I maybe I'm wrong, but you Walter Hill. That's fucking crazy.
you're right, it's Spielberg. No, so it's just David S. Geyer by himself.
Hmm.
Sorry, everybody, for getting you excited. Um, but yes, David S. Geyer, who Giller, however you pronounce it, who okay, so they did not slap a production credit on
No.
the latest one for him. But he was this. I didn't know he wrote Fun with Dick and Jane. That movie's fucking terrible.
This
um,
is reshoots.
oh, look at that hair. Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
but this is the business subplot, right? Like we get the. Oh wow, look at that hair. That is
Mm-hmm.
100% different
Reshoots.
hair. Holy shit. Um. Oh, good. Is it another montage sequence? It is, but not. It's
Huh.
the business people montage. Like.
Ding ding ding. Oh man. Well, it's David Foster.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason. But I don't know what they was thinking. No, you see, Night Ranger will elevate this film.
I mean, just this. Uh, we. Well, I mean, the end music theme is good guys. Sometimes good guys finish first or something, and you're
Yeah,
just
and
like,
it's Pet Benatar
oh
too,
my
who should have
god.
known better.
Hmm.
Doing yet another theme song to a Helen Slater movie. She had previously done Invincible for The Legend of Billie Jean.
Oh wow. Okay. Which I
Yeah,
still haven't seen.
that's not a bad. It's not horrible. It's pretty good. Helen
So
Slater.
yeah, the bit is that they are theoretically both just out of college. That doesn't figure into any of their character. It's just so thin. And some of the reason it's so thin is 2 months before shooting, a Universal exec brought in the rewriters to turn Helen Slater from a mistress who Michael J. Fox falls in love with while he is taking care of her. So basically, the original script is literally for Love or Money. And
Uh,
then they added in Margaret Whitten's part, and they changed Helen Slater to being a suit who, like, I'm sure we've definitely talked about this during some action movie or not, but like, it's one of those things where you have no context of whether or not somebody's supposed to be good at their job or not, because like the writing's so
Mm.
thin. But here we are, the movie that the trailers promised, Michael J. Fox pretending to be an executive, starts at minute 42.
Yeah, they really tried to sell it with him in the suit. And,
And I mean, we talked about this during the Eddie sequence. These are, I mean, in the context of knowing right from wrong or being expected to know right from wrong, these are not kids. In the context of their brains not being solid yet, they're still kids, right? Like they're under
mm,
25 and they're having to fucking just hustle at a level that, like, they're hustling so some studio boss can sit around and fucking have a heart attack while at
mm.
lunch and go back to work. Like, the amount of response, like, everything being laid on these actors is incredible given the machine behind them. Like, it's just very. That might be the only black person in the movie with a line.
I almost thought that was Leslie Jones till I caught myself.
No, it's not like Halloween 2 or whatever, where it's what's her face.
Oh, Mrs. Alves.
No, the Rob
Mm.
Zombie Halloween 2. Then
Oh,
there's
right.
it's what's her
I.
face, Octavia Butler or whoever.
Oh, no way.
No, not is that who it is? Okay, so this is another whole bit where she keep the
Yeah,
his
she
new
keeps
second,
catching him.
and she's like hot to trot with this. It's just such a
I guess what's her face wasn't in films yet, huh? This would have been a God, Sister Act,
Kathy and Jimmy. Yeah,
right?
Mercedes
Okay.
Rule's gonna show up for one
Oh,
scene
that's
and
right.
and kind of
Yep.
like steal the fucking movie. It's pretty embarrassing because her lines are like, "I'm training to be an actress so I can fucking steal scenes from people," and they're both like, "Oh, uh." She's like, "I'm gonna fucking steal this scene from you too, Blondie." Like,
Oh shit,
yeah, it's what's his
Rick
face.
Aviles only in here for a second.
Yep, Mark
Damn.
Margulies is gonna be in here as a recurring bit, and it's just like, what a trailer moment. Like,
Yeah.
okay, here we go. He's not gonna say good morning to the black guy, which is
Well,
the whole thing is just
you see, bro's trying to breathe.
obnoxious. Yeah, it's just like
What they cutting my funding? What the fuck?
I
Those kids
do.
need that part.
There was Bill Faber, but okay, so then there's this workout room. Like, I
Oh
don't
yeah, there you
know.
go. Trailer.
Yeah, but it's not like he opened it playing a like a hick.
No, he's a good old boy. He's a good old boy, but he's like Midwestern good old boy.
Yeah,
Not
it's
He's not a hayseed like Elvis,
right. It's just
who still goes anywhere and talks in that fucking accent.
okay, here we go. Now, here is his next chance to hit on Helen Slater. I just, she has such a great voice, like for
Yes,
doing
exactly.
deadpan, and it never really got. Nobody ever knew what to do with it, which always sucked. Bill Faberback.
Because the deadpan girl didn't get cool
Oh God, yeah, 98
till
or
the
something.
'90s. Till
Yeah,
Daria made it cool to be fucking sarcastic and
yeah.
deadpan.
She would have done an amazing job in the mid 80s with that. Like, though in hindsight, I guess we should be happy that whoever told her not to be Woody Allen's 80s muse, though that would have been problematic or complicated, um, since he already had one more appropriate. Well,
Mia? Well,
yeah, I mean, he
yeah,
made some great
yeah.
movies.
She was
Shame he
older then,
was,
yeah.
yeah, shame he was
Hmm.
doing God knows what. Um, but she avoided that, but that actually would have been a wonderful showcase for her because like none of like Ruthless People, she's fourth or fifth build and she barely's in it after a certain point. Also, I don't like Ruthless People, so
I haven't seen that in years.
the last time I watched it, I was just like, oh man, I think the 80s might not have aged well. And that was in like 2002 or something. Like,
I think the thing was back in the day between my family and my mom and my aunts watching everything that Bette Midler and Shelley Long did back then. I said no for so I think I've seen every single one of those.
yeah, I used to watch those two. Wait, did she do two with Shelley Long or just one?
They did the one.
And but she did two with Lily Tomlin. No, was it
I
just Big Business?
think it was just Big Business.
It's how does it seem like there are seven of those
Yeah, it
movies when there
seems
are
like
only two? Like,
it seems like there's more, but they kept pairing Bette Midler off with people. You know, um,
Bette Midler was too
ugh.
crass for general audiences, folks. If you want to know what the 80s were like, they were like, Bette Midler's a little too much for us. And then we had to include Shelley Long to even it out for the squares. Like,
Yeah, they tried to make like Laverne and Shirley movies with
mm,
Bette Midler, and I don't think she ever did a Penny Marshall.
maybe a cameo in one of them.
I don't know.
Did she cameo in League of Her Own?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe. Mm.
I've only seen that once, actually. So, Secret of My Success had a stage musical that
Oh
was
wow.
canceled because of Rona, but they tried to do a musical version of it, which
Mm.
presumably would have had a stronger part for the Helen Slater character.
Yeah, because
So
in this they do her a disservice by just making her the girl, and
she's, yeah, she's the girl, and then we'll get to it, but it's just kind of like,
I don't like the haircut, but
yeah, she
that's
gets,
supposed to be the yuppie girl.
yeah, she gets the, um, she'll get a better high volume short 80s cut. But even that's a lot of fucking hair for them to keep in that position. Like,
I mean, spray cans. They probably
I mean,
just
three,
to keep that shit in
four.
place.
Like, look at that shit. Like,
Damn, it's not moving.
nope. So now, all right. So now we're 52 minutes in,
Oh,
and
Uncle Frank. That's right.
also
From
pay
Home
attention.
Alone.
Yeah, pay attention to him because he will show up in the the big screwball sequence, but then
Hmm.
also um he figures into the end in a way that like none of his other scenes
Hmm.
imply that he has that much importance. Here's Pankow. Pankow's agent must have been like, "We'll promise you'll be in a bunch of the shots." Because this would have been after
Yeah,
To
he
Live
was
and Die
in
in
To Live and
LA.
Die in L.A.
So
Yeah,
like this is him, like Pankow eventually would just be supporting comic relief guy, like,
yeah, that was his shtick.
and that maybe started here. Other 87 movie that what Broadcast News also did the yuppie thing, but
Mm.
from a different angle, like not Wall Street yuppie necessarily.
No, it was newscasters,
Yeah.
but they were again professionals. These were people who wore suits to work, so you had to put wardrobe on overdrive.
All right. So 54 minutes in, we're doing this. And it's just like, why didn't you set this up earlier? Why is it going on for so long?
Yeah,
A lot of this movie feels like they were struggling to get it to an R rating when nobody was going to do nudity, basically. Like,
yeah. The thing is, this is one of those at the last minute. They probably pulled it from being an R
isn't this an
because
R?
no, this is PG-13.
Oh, then that makes a lot more fucking sense. Okay.
Yeah, this was the height of Michael J. Fox.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
Everybody's going to go see Secret of My Success.
Okay. So Aunt Vera's over. We don't get to see whatever fucking gross ant shit she's gonna say to him. But is this where we find out who Helen Slater's with? I think it is. I think we fucking cut between the two of them. So like the whole thing would make more sense if Helen Slater, it was also about her experience.
Yeah, we
Like,
never really get if she was cool with her situation or not till
yeah.
she's fickle about it later because she likes Michael J. Fox.
We also haven't talked about the name. Everybody, like his name, Brantley Foster, or is it Foster? It's weird. They like comment on it a lot. They make a joke about it being his last name, but like he changes his name, so nobody's talking about it. Also, Brantley and Bradley are going to sound pretty similar. At one point, they're like Brantley Whitford. I'm like, Bradley Whitford? What?
No, it's
It's Whitford
Carlton Whitfield
Whitfield, yeah.
and Brantley. Yeah, Brantley Foster.
Okay, so here's where we
Brantley is who he's
discover.
really. Yeah, she's trying to put the boundaries on, but she's still sitting there drinking with him. Meanwhile,
Well,
you
we're
know, Michael J. Fox is getting his dick wet.
so they also missed the chance for them to rock the bed and annoy the neighbors, which
Right.
is
That was
like,
supposed to be the payoff.
what is like, yeah, I mean, that's like the thing is we have missing subplots, but we also have like missing jokes. But now that I know it's PG-13, that makes sense. Maybe they did cut a bunch of shit out to get it from the R. All right, so here we've got this
All right.
the takeover subplot. So this the takeover subplot because they spoiled it. Fred Gwynn is in the credits in the opening titles. He's in the last scene. I do not under. Oh, this is such an. It's such a bad shot because your sight line is
Well,
disrupted from looking at Helen Slater, listening to Richard Jordan talk. It's
they
I,
were trying to be cool.
they were trying to be cool, and somehow they just totally fucked it up. Like I
You did this with mirrors.
do not get that one. Okay, so all of this shit with him sneaking around to change his clothes, none of that. Like Herbert Ross is not a good slapstick director. How about that? Or screwball director at all.
Mm,
Honestly, I feel like if you cut this down to 35 or 95 minutes and gave it the mannequin, a bunch of the mannequin soundtrack, get some Sylvester Levay temp tracks in this, your
mm.
pacing's just going to work so much better. The tie is the headband. If you want to know about the 80s, folks, that was.
Yeah, that
Did
was
somebody
kind of
in
a
a
thing.
band have that maybe? Like,
Thought it was Springsteen for a minute. No, he didn't do it.
he didn't do it.
Somebody did do it. The tie as a
Yeah.
headband, though. So it was a thing for a second.
So now we have the secretary having to transcribe a bunch of shit. And the problem with it is that, again, Michael J. Fox doesn't seem to be a business genius so much as he seems to have a very. There's Mark Margulies and his New York cameo. And like the strangest Mark Margulies cameo I've ever seen because at a certain point, people were like, well, we've got Mark Margulies, let's use him. This is like somebody was like, you got to have Mark Margulies.
The Siskel and Ebert clip.
Okay, so now we've got our other fucking subplot starting at 1 hour in, where she's gonna steal notes from him
Mm,
and give them to Prescott, to Richard Jordan. But now she's not going to do any more of his dirty work. But her having like some clash with Jordan is starting to give Helen Slater a part. It would be terrible if we're just going to take it all away at some point.
mm. They got him falling into rooms like Patrick Dempsey. Look at dude. You see what the dude sitting there with the outline of hair?
Oh my god!
What the
I
fuck?
I think he gets a. He's going to get a close up late. Okay, so oh god, there has got
Look
to
at that
be. There
shit.
is 100% a fucking 2.5 hour cut of this.
Damn.
Dude is going to be majorly part of the garden party sequence. Like, but that doesn't go anywhere. It's very weird. Okay, so now
Mm,
Richard Jordan is suspicious of Whitfield. We get this pointless interlude, presumably for the trailer. Like,
yeah. This trailer fodder. When you're in big business, things get risky.
oh God, head office.
Yep.
Oh my God. I don't think I have a Judd Nelson movies you wish were amusing in me.
Well, it's Judge Reinhold.
Judd Reinhold, sorry. No. Yes. There are no amusing Judd Nelson movies. Sorry, folks.
Eh.
Okay, so here's where. All right. So basically, the business plot is somebody's buying up stock to do a hostile takeover. The suits want to lay off all the people in the Midwest to get cash to fight the takeover. Michael J. Fox thinks that they should expand to make the company more valuable. But the hostile takeover, we are going to learn, is resolvable in a single scene.
Mhm.
But if you've seen other people's money, they turn that into the entire thing with like stockholder shit. So maybe it's a not a company with sharehold, but no, because the guy's buying stock, so he's got to be, and it's not, he's not buying it. But yeah, so then they talk about how you're not actually going to get the cash because you're going to be dealing with severance and claims and things like that. So this is like a terrible business subplot. Like it's just so the sense of urgency and stuff. Okay, so here's where we start their date. They're gonna hang out for the next 2 days.
Uh-oh.
Yep, Mercedes rule. Um, she's got a line about how she's training to be an actress, and it's just kind of like, yes, and I'm gonna fucking take your scene away from you. How's it going, Supergirl? I tried out for Lucy Lane. They said I was too ethnic.
You look good together.
Okay, how many movies have a waitress telling the two people who aren't on a date that they look good together and it convincing the girl? I would say there's got to be five more at the very least. Like,
And none of them are Jungle Fever.
no, very much not. Yes, no. God. All
Queen Latifah in that damn scene.
right. But
Well,
it's also like a strange New York movie because they do a bunch of setup on streets, but in some ways they they seem to be filming on location of look at that guy in his fucking shorts.
yeah.
Oh, and look at the socks. Oh man. Wow. But like they're gonna talk around a bunch of stuff that I was like, oh, are they gonna end up at Kansas at some point? No. Why do we have a presumably lady of the night waiting in a doorway like she's about to start snapping her fingers and doing a backup singing for a
I,
video? Like,
I don't like how she's back there like a prop.
yeah. Well, then there's this. Okay, that is basically Margaret Whitten's some of Margaret Whitten's haircut, right? But it has nothing to do with it. It's just some weird fucking like
Yeah, it's a visual thing.
that makes no sense. Like, because Helen Slater doesn't want that look. So why did she stop? What are they?
I guess because the aquarium wasn't open.
Much, pretty much.
Ah, New York.
Ah, yes. Just fading through the New York. So they did not hook up. Instead, they walked around all night talking about business. And Michael J. Fox is telling her a bunch of stuff that doesn't fit with the Bradley Whitfield persona, or what? No, Preston. What is his name?
Carl,
Carlton
Carlton
Whitfield.
Whitfield.
Sorry. Yeah. Also, she presumably got her job with no experience right out of college. So again,
That's
juxtaposing the
because
two of them.
Uncle was a horn dog.
Yeah. But she's supposed to be smarter than everybody else that she's in the room with, except Michael J. Fox.
Mm.
But we never get to see that. We just see instead petty stuff. So the trivia says lots of the movie involved making Michael J. Fox taller than Helen Slater for kissing scenes. So it's entirely possible he's like sitting on a phone book right now.
Well, they kind of towards the end they sort of
They do
make
reference it,
fun of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
but not. He was not. He was not as uncomfortable as some making height jokes in his movies,
no.
but he was it. Like Doc Hollywood makes jokes about it. It took him a while to get there. Like, well, shit, is he? Pacino's actually like 5'6", I think. Like Pacino just is short compared to this guys who are 6'2". But like,
And the fact that he got loud.
yeah, Pacino knows how to project.
He got bigger than the room, so you don't have to.
Okay, so we are now 70 minutes in, and Helen Slater is going to talk about how she's made the mistake of hooking up with a married man. He's not gonna say, I know what that's like. I'm fucking my aunt-in-law. Like, instead he's like, yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool, Helen Slater. That's bad behavior. You shouldn't do that. Also, the scene where she finds out that he's fucking Helen Slater seems to have gotten cut. No, Margaret Whitten, because it'll come up, but it's never like confirmed. Also, nobody goes, dude, you probably shouldn't be fucking your aunt-in-law. That's weird. Like,
I
this is
don't think he
weird.
tells anybody.
He doesn't, but she knows at the end,
Right.
so she can immediately forgive him.
But
Okay,
they
so
square it out because what's his name ends up with her.
yeah, real quick too.
Yeah.
Well, fucking, how old was Pankow in this? Like, Margaret Whitten's only 36. Like, hold on,
And
how
back
old?
then it didn't matter. Remember, that's the 80s. They were doing movies with 14-year-olds fucking their 29-year-old tutors. Shh.
Fucking with cuffs, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Oh
was the
God. Yeah.
yeah, cuffs. It was like, wait a second, what the fuck is going on here? Um, Secret of Success. Like Pankow was 32. It's not like
No, it's not
yeah,
because they're not playing him like he's young,
no.
especially with that hair.
Well, I mean, just wait. That's gonna be like what gets her hot and bothered. And she's just like, hell yeah, look at that hair. Okay, so that secretary is played by Susan Kellerman, who was also in Beetlejuice, also in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, bunch of shit. So not seeing any major lead parts, but I bet she had great one-sceners and a bunch of stuff.
Mm.
She was in that weird ass. Is this a TV movie? The Wild Women of Chastity Gulch, starring Priscilla
Yeah.
Barnes, Lee Horsley, Howard Duff, Pamela Bellwood,
Whoa.
Phyllis Davis, who 70s actress, um, Lisa Wetchell, or however you pronounce it, shows up in.
Blair?
Yeah, Donny
Yeah, it was a TV
Osmond,
movie. Had to be a TV
Joan
movie.
Collins. Yeah, it had to be a TV. Well, it's 100 minutes though. Let's see. TV movie. Airing on, oh, Aaron Spelling TV movie. Wow. No, not really sure I want to see an Aaron Spelling movie about Confederate widows from 1982. I feel like that probably's got some things going on. Okay.
I sat through Twirl one day just because I was, yeah.
Is that a Kathy
I'm,
cartoon in the background? I think it is on the wall.
yeah, those always hung in office spaces. She
Okay.
was Dilbert before it was Dilbert.
Yeah. Okay, so she's upset. We're also presumably, since it's not rated R, we are going to cut um her having to make Richard Jordan take no for an answer in a few minutes.
You know, now that I think about it, her with that hair, somebody could deep fake a Power Girl.
It's Earth 2 Power Girl.
Yeah.
This is just oh.
Uh,
Okay, so um here's our chase through the Electra, just without GW Bailey falling
right?
and stuff. Oh, was it Yeah, no. What's it
Yeah.
called? Electra?
Illustra.
Illustra, yes.
Switcher!
But it's like, how do you not understand how to like block the like I just we don't have a good concept of what the workspace looks like, so we're just using like repeating people bits. It's just so weird.
Now, this right here,
This
and
should
lucky
have
it's a movie.
right. No,
It
this should
should
have
have
ended with
killed
them
him.
all being fucking dead. It's just like
Yeah.
the rest of the movie's just about them being dead. Okay, so here he's caught him in the suit. Oh wow, we really could have checked for was that one hair scene the only one with the major reshoot?
I think
Um,
so, because for a lot of the rest of the time is more reddish
yeah.
and it's short. Like anytime it's not covering his ears or hanging too much in the back.
Yeah. Here it is. How does he get all of this information? It's available in our quarterly stock reports, which fucking Richard Jordan, the big boss man, doesn't know, which seems
Well, remember,
concerning.
I think we learned that he barely knows anything. That everything he knows is because Vera taught him or gave him a leg up on.
Well, and also that it's also Vera's father's company, which we
Mm-hmm.
find out in the last 20 minutes, I'm sorry, 27 and a half minutes, plus minus one more montage. But Pankow doesn't find out what he's actually up to for a while. So, like, he doesn't have a buddy. It's just like,
Damn, is that a fucking sound system back there?
So she sang too. So both, so like she had a long career because
Yeah,
lots of it was stage.
yeah, I could
Like,
tell she was a theatrical. They all kind of had that sort of
yeah,
theatrical actors know how to use their physicality a lot, and
mhm. Like look how much she's working. Like
hmm
it's she did a show with it looks like Terry Garr that barely lasted 12 episodes. I'm gonna try to track that shit down because
right.
like they
It
should
was
be
kind of a what was it, Good and Evil or something?
yeah. Like
Yeah,
I imagine the two of them,
but she plays the good one though,
yeah,
if I recall correctly. Like you need this and something else.
yeah. But I mean it just again, they if they cut it from Major League, then they knew that she could do more because in Major League she shows up to yell at them and be sexy.
Well,
And
yeah, I
that's
think
it.
they said that was part of it. That she was, I think, test audiences
Okay.
really responded to her, and it was supposed to be, their movie, the guys.
So, and here's where we just get like, so Richard Jordan's like the straight man, right? Like,
Mhm.
but it's so funny because yesterday, um, I was reading how Johnny Storm's womanizing is going to be toned down in First Steps. The guy playing him said that. And it's like, you don't think, and we talked about this during our Fantastic Four episodes, during our ill-fated Fantastic Four season, which is kind of appropriate when you think about it, that the Fantastic
Mhm.
Four season has some ill-fated aspects to it. But anyway, uh, we talked about that during the first one of just how fucking forced it is to have one of your superheroes just be a fucking horn
Yeah,
dog
horn dog.
creep. Yeah. Though I think we've all seen the video of Chris Evans shooting his shot occasionally. So
hmm
that was more him. Though from the video, from the parking lot video, he appears to have more game than Johnny Storm did, but still. Okay, so here we are back at the fucking gym. I was so happy because for a second I thought there was going to be a sauna sequence because I was
No,
like, I don't want to deal with a
you
fucking
know
steam room sequence.
that's what's missing from this,
It
though.
is. But maybe they cut it. They're like, we're going to talk about this while we sweat. And I was like, oh
Yeah,
my God.
all the business movies, big office, head office movies have some sequence that where they're sitting in a steam room or they're in a pool or there's not a there's not a hardball sequence in this either because that was huge with the yuppies.
There's also no cocaine in this. I wonder if that was in the original cut. Um, yeah. I mean,
uh,
I get, yeah,
Veggie plate, huh?
an overpriced veggie plate.
Right?
Be funny if Michael J. Fox ate the plant that's on the table. But like they're having this lunch in his office. Like you could have set this up. Like I just don't. But also here we have
Once again, him trying to set somebody up to use him.
well also okay, so first thing, we don't establish very well that he's married to her for her money.
No,
Second thing we don't establish very well is that when he's telling Michael J. Fox to keep her occupied at this party, all of the dialogue implies fuck my wife at this party to keep her busy. But then that's not what he's saying because he doesn't suspect it at all. Even like he doesn't suspect Vera at all, which
no.
is somewhat odd. But now she's going to show. God, this is the worst montage sequence of the whole thing. It's so funny.
Well, it doesn't have a goofy '80s song playing over it, right? This is the one montage that doesn't.
No, but it's just like, okay. So she's going to introduce Michael J. Fox to all of her rich friends that
There's
she's
people
had this
playing
whole
tennis.
time. And it's just like,
Well, that was the thing. He told her though he wanted to do it on his own.
no, but that was in reference to her husband helping him get a leg up.
Oh yeah.
This is,
Oh,
but also
yeah.
when she's saying, I got Richard Jordan to where he was, she's not saying, or I got Howard as key to the executive washroom. She's not saying, also, my dad owned the fucking company and I'm rich. Here
Mm,
is the failed rape scene that presumably got cut.
ah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That is a nice shot though. The pool in the back.
Mm-hmm.
They got everything.
The thing is like Herbert Ross has some like good setups, but it's just like,
It's a good looking movie. Like if you ever
yeah.
really wanted to know what 1987 looked like,
There's this.
there's
Okay.
this and Mannequin.
All right, here we go, everybody. So, oh my God, this is the strangest fucking sequence ever. So, he's going to go talk to these rich guys, and we're going to get this upbeat young professional inspiration music.
Oh, it's David Foster. That's why. Uh,
But,
it's
wait,
it's it's St. Elmo's music.
they're arguing about the plan being bad. He's meeting all these people, but there's like a whole sequence that they fucking play this music over. We've also cut the scene where Michael J. Fox got the dog, which is you would never fucking see a movie today that
Yeah,
wasted
they
the
would have to.
opportunity to
They would
have a
have to
dog.
detail all that. Yeah.
Okay, so here we have these guys doing their calculations and stuff. She's impressed. Meanwhile, your hair guy sees what's going on over there, doesn't go over, doesn't tell any of them. This has not, they have nothing to do with anything. Then you find out people aren't actually going over there. They're just walking around while he talks about getting rich. But there are people listening in the background, and she's like, it's so weird, especially since the only thing he ever did to impress her was say, I really want to fuck you, lady. Like, and I think your husband should too. I don't know why he doesn't. That's how he won her over.
Well, like you said, she said he reminded her of him when he was like at one point he had
Yeah.
ambition, I guess, and then he just got greedy.
Well, the ambition to do the right thing, I guess. Is that that's not the house from the money pit.
No.
All that shit just looks the same. Okay. He's also, yeah, but he's a fucking idiot. He has no idea where Whitfield is. He
Hmm.
still doesn't suspect anything. We have
Well,
20
yeah,
minutes left of this movie, and he still doesn't suspect anything.
that's the power of 80s logic.
Mm. Oh,
That's
man.
the same thing that makes people convinced that Dustin Hoffman was a woman. Or Joyce Heiser was a boy.
Poor Joyce Heiser. Like, Andrew McCarthy wants to bitch. Like, the people in the Brat Pack who didn't fucking hang on, that was on them to some degree, right? Like, you could have ridden that out.
Well,
But, like,
because
the
a lot
people,
of them did anything instead of holding out for something.
yeah. But it's like people like Joyce Heiser, like, had
Yeah,
to fucking work it and, like, got nothing for it despite basically being able to carry a movie better than movie stars.
because it
Like,
does suck for somebody like her to just be doing the reunion circuit
yeah.
now than to have had a string of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go again.
Yep. This is your big screwball sequence where I was just like, how
Do they do the Scooby Doo doors?
they do the
Oh,
staircase?
okay, okay. Then
They might do the doors too. They don't do the doors full on, but they do door shit. And it's just like, I don't, well, I think some of the issue with this is really the editor. Like, this is, everything's too long. And the timing, I mean, like, also, I actually have no problem with you using um reusing music bits like from other shit, but you have to do it, you have to make it something special, right? This is
yeah.
just using that music. It's not making anything special. This is just the horn dog theme of the movie. Like,
Hmm.
which did not make the soundtrack. They did not include this song on the soundtrack, interestingly enough.
Probably because was it even on Ferris Bueller's
I don't
soundtrack?
know.
Because
I don't know if
sometimes,
Ferris Bueller even had a soundtrack.
right? Because sometimes the record company will be like, no, it's specifically
Yeah.
going to be on the artist's album. You'll have to pay more for it to be on the soundtrack.
Yeah. And then somebody was in the early, so we we've talked about 80s music montages, 90s music montages, whatever. But what got interesting is before you everybody found out you could actually pay a musical artist 1 billionth of a penny and they would take it. Eventually, they would release soundtrack albums that had cover versions of the original songs that only played in the movies because they could afford that. But then once, streaming music has come along, that's why you can fucking have, Rolling Stone songs at the end of every episode of Doom Patrol or anything. And I'm just like, dude, how the fuck did they get this song? And then I'm like, oh, they were like, hey, you want 35 cents? We'll give you 35 cents. That's as much as you get from Spotify in a year. But like, this should be funny. This should be good. Instead,
Yeah, it's just kind of wasting time.
I think some of it too is that a lot of the shots are composed for video.
Yeah,
Like,
that could be it too.
but Margaret Whitten's so fucking good. She's so fucking funny. I don't understand.
And it gives them an excuse to play this damn song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you liked it in Ferris Bueller?
What's so Ferris Bueller was like a video hit and cable, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And eventually, like USA Channel probably had it for a while. But
Hmm.
this is dropping after everybody's seen Ferris Bueller and knows that song. Like,
It was in commercials. Like this song just.
so I'm so glad that they don't go as far with the Richard Jordan in bed with, yeah, this fucking guy who's not anywhere near funny enough, Uncle Frank or whatever.
Hmm.
Also, Ferris Bueller didn't play the whole song, and they didn't play the whole song for a good reason. It goes on too long.
Yeah, there's that, and it was background noise. It wasn't because it played over the end credits.
Okay, here we go, everybody. Pay attention. Does when does it come out that Vera's banging? Okay. Ah,
Mm.
this is such a weird scene. Because it's going to turn out that it's all about Helen Slater being the villain, and you're just like,
Oh, it's all coming down. Mm.
what's shitty is
Oh.
okay, just like okay, so
Oh.
there's nothing about um there's nothing about Michael J. Fox and Margaret Whitfield in this scene, or Margaret Whit. There's too many fucking Whit last names.
Yeah,
Witten in this
it
scene.
got me too.
Okay, but now, okay,
Mm.
it it bothers me how basically Helen Slater was trained to cry on demand like that. Like, okay, like that's not a fair use of her talent. But also, so there was none of that. We just left the scene with she was sleeping her way to the top, is what he said, and he's not willing to listen to her. But why would she sleep with him to get her way to the top? It's just like this really thin fucking dramatic construction. And did we watch some other rom-com that did this recently, or did I watch something where it's just where they tack on the third act problem? They tack on an additional problem to get the couple back together. Like it had become such a trope
Yeah, that
by,
was a lot of these.
I
A
mean,
ton of these movies.
it's basically all of them, and also it's now every action movie that we do it to. Like, heard it here first, folks. The action movie where you tack on the final, the Star Trek II Into
Hmm.
Darkness plotting, that is actually based upon that is actually based upon romantic comedy tropes of the mid mid 80s to early aughts. Because what's that Josh Hartnett one does it really bad. 40 Days, 40 Nights does a terrible, like, we got to tack on to getting them together. And in the context of they're trying to figure out how to do it well and they're doing reshoots to get it, like the sort of Marvel movie shit, where they're actually just trying to get it right based upon what they've shot in the best case scenarios. Um, Nobody ever seems to be doing it like that. Trailer shot, by the
Yeah.
way. Okay, so now they managed to cook up a plan while making out, but they didn't make a plan while talking that whole weekend. Okay, if John Pankow was willing to get fired, they could have done a lot more with him throughout the movie. And here it is, folks, the grand finale, and Fred Gwynn showing up because he put his name out there that he wanted to work again.
Oh yeah, this is where he beginning of him playing such a short stretch because unfortunately he passed, but this was what he was doing.
Yeah, it was this Pet
Well,
Cemetery.
before yeah, Pet Sematary. Before this though, he was in '86, The Boy Who Could Fly.
Really? Starring
Yeah,
Jay Underwood.
starring Jay Underwood.
Not that we know anything about watching Jay Underwood movies on this podcast.
Right? What
Nope, I
Jay
don't know what
Underwood
you're talking
movie
about.
could we
Yeah, what are you talking
possibly?
about?
Well,
What could we be talking about? Oh, Helen Slater might have made a good Invisible Woman. Oh,
oh, this is where it all gets.
okay, this is where it all gets done. But in the last 20 minutes, we're going to find out that Margaret Whitten bought a controlling stock in the company, which means that she's like a millionaire the whole fucking movie and like should have been flying around in a helicopter if she can do that. Or this company's actually not that valuable.
And they got to close it out too with him wearing his good old boy
Mm-hmm.
clothes. He's not in a suit.
He's not in a suit. He's in a good wholesome sweater. Maybe the ants he doesn't fuck knit that for him or something. But he's still a little fucking prat because he's got his collar up there.
Get a collar. Now, why she's completely dressed down like that?
So
She wasn't even
again,
wearing that in the previous scene, was she?
maybe she was, but I don't think she was wearing it 2 scenes ago. Um, Dude, does Panko have a rat tail?
He might as well. There's so much going on back there
Okay, so
than there is
here,
in the front.
like, I'm sorry, why the movie's more interesting in the last 15 minutes than it is in the entire previous thing. This is not, and like, because wait for it, we just found out that
Yeah.
Margaret Whitten's the son of who owns the or the daughter of whoever started the company, and she and Helen Slater are now gal pals. Where's that scene? Where they fucking
You
like
know, in today's terms, that scene might be a little too explicit. They had a threesome, sorted their problems out.
did you say that James Tobach is being held accountable for being a fucking creep his whole life? Like, dude, some of the stories are like he approached Julianne Moore on the street in 1988 and was like, hey, I'm a big time director. Do you want to come up to my apartment and audition for me?
Oh, shit. Uh,
And I'm just like, yeah, if you've ever seen a James Tobach movie, this is no surprise. So Art's out of here. Why is Art out of here? It makes this dude happy, who's been a background, sort of like bit,
mhm.
but then it's just like, what?
His Uncle Frank is Uncle Frank. He's a kiss ass. He might as well be Uncle Frank in this. But then they drag him out too.
But if like Margaret Whitten in a power, like it would have been delightful.
Mhm.
Instead,
Mhm.
we get this song.
I still get what's wrong with Fred Gwynn. It's a win for everybody.
Mm, no, they
Oh,
canceled
that's
his
right. They
takeover.
canceled his part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we're setting up that they're going to go see his parents with a private jet, which we
Okay,
talk
that's a
about.
reshoot. Look at his hair.
Oh, you're right. Which we talked about in the first scene, and we're not going to come back to.
Oh, he doesn't have a rat tail. It's a ponytail.
Okay.
Like,
Mark Margulies had to come back. Kathy Najimy Jr. here, or Senior.
so this elevator.
This is the Pat Benatar song. It's so
Yep.
fucking terrible. Oh my God.
It's cheesy. Yeah.
But I love how the implication is that they should be greaseball yuppies. Like, it's so weird. Like, look at them. Here's the other, we're coming up on the other music video scene. Because here you go.
Yeah. That's definitely a what you call it ad
Yeah.
escape.
This had to have come out before Mannequin, right?
Mm, maybe
But let's see. All right,
one of
here's
them
a
would. I think this might have been a summer movie though. Was Mannequin a summer movie?
Mannequin was February. This was April. Well,
Oh,
depending on when they did the reshoots, maybe they were like, hey, you know what we could do? We could fucking direct a bunch of scenes like mannequin montages that we saw in the preview, like this one.
mm, oh. See, he's doing it Phil Collins style.
Yep, yeah, he is.
Got his gym shoes on. Oh, look at that. Yuppie fairy tale.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice shot, though. I mean, with
I
the thing in the back, the big chandelier from the old orchard.
Yeah, but the Michael J. Fox passionate kissing is so fucking uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah, it looks silly.
oh god, we pause on it. Well, okay, so somebody, all right, we don't want to talk about the reality of young male actors as sex symbols in the 80s because it really was just to sell teen magazines to a bunch of fucking 60-year-old pedophiles.
Yeah.
Like, but that was a vibe that they were trying to make him like that's how you would make him a romantic leading man and shit like that. Okay, so what is the best Helen Slater movie?
It's hard to say. You haven't seen Billie Jean yet, though.
I haven't seen Billie Jean. Honestly, you know what's actually good is I haven't watched Cry of the Dove, but the one before that,
Mm.
the
Damn. They were trying to sell the soundtrack.
yeah, man. Do you think David Foster's gonna not sell a soundtrack?
They
Was
could have
Walking
possibly.
on Sunshine really an 80s song?
Yes, it was.
Wow. When I heard it, I'm like, wow, that's a great cover of something from the 60s. What was I looking up? The Helen Slater movie. The one with Michael
Yeah.
Madsen. It is
Mm.
House in the Hills. Have you seen House in the Hills lately?
No.
Watch House in the Hills today.
I don't think I've seen that since the 90s.
Watch it today. It's a it's a good early 90s black comedy. It's like she's babysitting a house. He's on the run. Watch it, like it's a delight. It's a delight. You'll It's a wonderful Helen Slater like lead role. Like, but I mean, when she showed up on Supergirl, it was like she should just when they did the flashback episode to the Supergirl as the Hardy sisters, like one of the Supergirl episodes is a flashback to, and it's like in the good season, or it's like
Oh.
before the bad. It's after, it might be at the beginning of season 3 before they flip, before things go to shit, presumably because they had to fire the sexual predator. But they do the two sisters as teenage like detective adventurers, and Helen
Mm.
Slater plays their mom in present and in the flashback. And like you get done with it and you're like, oh, this is a fucking backdoor pilot. This is the greatest fucking thing ever. They should have signed these kids and be ready to go. And they never do anything else with it.
Mm.
But it would have been awesome. It would have been a fucking delightful show. Okay.
Mm.
So next week we have, speaking of delightful, next week we have The Frighteners. Um,
Yes.
and let's take a quick look and see which version we shall be watching because we'll watch whatever's readily available for folks out there in the world.
Well, the what do they say? The director's cut has now become, but if we have to, we can watch. But I think the director's cut is a little better.
I don't know that if I've seen the director's cut, it's been a long ass time. The director's fun cut, as he likes to call it, as he called it at the time. Let's see. The one that's on you can rent is 149 minutes, which is the theatrical. Director's cut's another 12 minutes. Okay. We'll figure it out. I might just want to watch the director's cut because I don't think I've ever seen it. Or if I have, I
Mm.
don't. Well, because when would I have seen it? I did. No, I did see it. That is the one I've seen. Okay, lately. More lately.
Is it?
Okay. I mean, by lately, I mean 20 years ago. So probably for the first. Um, so I'm good doing either, but we can. figure it out. But director's cut might be fun. But the whole thing is fun. It's fucking delightful. We
Yeah,
get Ty
it's a good ass
McBride.
movie.
Oh my god, we get Ty McBride. We get Jeffrey Combs as Jim Carrey as Jeffrey Combs. We just get New Zealand countryside as remote America. We get Trini Alvarado as the person shorter than Michael J. Fox. No, she's fine, but it's also kind of like, who's Trini Alvarado? And then you're like, oh, she's somebody, and it's like when?
Yeah,
It's
she
like
was somebody once upon a time before.
in the early 80s. You know what? If Andrew McCarthy wants to bitch, he should look at all the fucking kids from the early 80s who weren't in the Brat Pack, who didn't end up anywhere, or ended up like on Dynasty and guest spots and shit. Because, like, where's the Chris Makepeace documentary, right? Like, where's the documentary where people make where the rest of the kids from Mazes and Monsters, right? Like,
Yeah, everybody that wasn't Tom Hanks or what's her face, who did go on to stuff.
Wendy Crewson, but that took forever.
And she still isn't. She never
And yeah, and she
did
never broke
anything that,
out.
yeah.
Wendy Crewson is, oh, she's Canadian. And she's won Canadian awards, so maybe she was in Canada doing things. But basically, Wendy Crewson is who you would get if like Margaret Colin was busy, but like, there's no comparison. Margaret Colin, whatever, she ought to be a fucking like EGOT or whatever if she can sing,
Mm.
but like nothing. So, but like Wendy Crewson's almost in the the Connie Nielsen thing, just in terms of like they play the wife of somebody in a movie that doesn't do as well as they wanted it to. Like Margaret Collins, the wife in Devil's Own, I think.
Mm.
And so it's like, so what? So like
Yeah.
that's it. And it's like, yeah, that's why we couldn't get
And
anybody
she's really
else.
good too.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to see that again, just like in terms of trying. Ooh, it's too long. It's
Mm.
got to be. Our Harrison Ford misfire season.
Mm. Mm.
I mean, it'd be too
Well, he
long
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't do much that's not under 2 hours.
because we'd be talking. Yeah, it'd be a bunch of 2 hour movies. Okay. So yeah, Frighteners. Peter Jackson. He made this or he made this after Heavenly Creatures. It did we see it? I know I saw it in the theater.
Hmm.
Did I see it in the theater?
Which one?
96. Frighteners.
Uh,
I don't
I saw it, but
I don't I think I did see it in the theater. So like Frighteners is one of those movies that you thought was going to be a hit and it wasn't, like based on seeing it. So
yeah, and then people abandoned it.
yeah,
Nobody went to go see it.
nobody saw it and then it came
It was
back.
supposed to be a big hit. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit on video. This is another one where it's like I think they had a sequel planned, but like you could have done or three and a legacy sequel easily. Like Frighteners, you could have brought in Christopher Lloyd in the cliffhanger between 2 and 3 type shit. Like you
Mm-hmm.
could have done amazing shit with this. Like it's from the wonderful universe where we had 6 Maverick movies and Mel Gibson wasn't a piece of shit. Like that wonderful fucking universe that is the only one where Scarlet Witch's kids aren't real. Okay. Yeah, we'll be back next week, folks. That's all I got.
Alrighty. Yeah, that's about it. I don't really have much else to follow up with because, yeah,
You
I
gotta
miss
see it.
Michael J. Fox. That's all I can say. And
Yeah. And for Margaret Whitten, you gotta see this movie. Like this movie has some elements
and
that but
Margaret Whitten never really, yeah, she needs more. Go
appreciation.
see more of her stuff.
Yeah.
Track down more of her work because she really worked,
Yeah.
and it never paid off for her, and it wasn't fair.
Nope.
Ugh. So with that, folks, anything else?
I mean, it didn't pay off for Helen Slater either. So
No, not really. But again, she's somebody who I think should have leaned more into voice acting because
Such a good voice. I was just like watching it and I was thinking, imagine if she had gotten to do some inspiring speech in a Supergirl movie or something. Like it would have sounded
right
so good. Like
now she did. She was on Batman.
that's right. She was Talia, right?
She was Talia, but I think she was only Talia for like a couple episodes,
Mm,
and they switched it.
she's not gone. Get her going now. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
she should have got something off of being on Supergirl at least.
All right, folks. We'll be back once again in our universe where Frighteners was not a hit. And
Right. So till then, the balcony is closed. Get out of here, kids.